Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Unfortunately here in New Zealand we are under a tight lockdown. I'm not a big fan of shooting indoors, but given that I can't go outside and be caught filming, I thought it's safer to do it in-house. And the topic of today is can you take shortcuts and still pass the CFA program? But before we get to that, there are exams happening in the next week or so. Just want to wish all the candidates the very best. Do well. If there is one tip that I have to offer in the last 1 or 2 days, don't overexert yourself. You know, the chances of you mucking up on exam day are higher if you are not in the right headspace. The risk is that you make silly mistakes because you're overworked, you're not relaxed enough, there's too much, you've already tired yourself, and you end up making silly mistakes. So you want to avoid that. It's a very bad feeling when you know you've made silly mistakes for the questions that you knew the answers to. Obviously there are questions that you had no clue, and that's okay, you don't really think about them. But when you get the result and you realize you've just failed by, say, 2 or 3 questions, and then you remember or recollect the silly mistakes that you made, it can be quite a feeling. Shortcuts. I love taking shortcuts. I've taken shortcuts many times. When I was in school, I remember here in New Zealand, there are 13 years of schooling. I was able to get through at the age of 17. And by the age of 19, I already had an undergrad degree in commerce and administration. So I just wanted to whiz through the studying part, just hated studying. And kind of carried that momentum through in level 1 and 2, did the bare minimum and managed to succeed. And you can do that. For level 1 and 2, people say don't read the curriculum, just do it off a Schweizer or other third-party providers, you'd just be fine. And there is some truth to it. I'd never opened the curriculum, it was just too long, didn't want to spend hours reading it, the videos were just fine. And what was also important in those 2 levels, especially level 1, is that the competition is quite generic. People from all backgrounds are giving it. They're not so serious candidates versus serious candidates. So, it's easy to perform. All you have to do is give an above average performance and you'll get through. Also, the content is very similar to final year of university. So, especially if you've taken topics in finance, economics and accounting. So, it's not that hard. You don't have to do the 300 hours, very much possible to pass. Even with level 2, for me, luckily enough, the level is heavy on FRA. And FRA was my strength because a lot of the work that I was doing was related to accounting. So that helped a lot. And I say, if you have a solid accounting background, as well as a corporate finance background in terms of academic performance, you can still perform really well in level 2. You also need luck, which I believe I managed in level 2 somehow. So obviously the more shortcuts you're taking, you're relying on your guessing ability. And given the less number of questions in level 2, very much possible to get through. But just bear in mind that the more hours you cut, the more you rely on luck and your guessing ability. So yeah, you take a shortcut in level 1, you pass. You take shortcuts in level 2 and you pass. The issue is level 3, because you cannot carry that same strategy onto level 3, which I did. And trust me, the results are always most likely going to be disastrous. Because if you have taken shortcuts, chances are that your base understanding is weak, that you don't really carry too much from the previous levels, and suddenly you're exposed to level 3. Suddenly you're exposed to the essay format, and the strategy will not work. Because for level 3, especially the essay portion, you need a lot of practice. By default, if you are practicing a lot, you need to put in the effort. So, you can get to what I'm trying to convey here. You need to put more hours, and you need to change your strategy. May work for level 1 and 2, but I don't think a shortcut strategy works for level 3. I've covered this many times before. You kind of need a focus and discipline for level 3, and you just need to make sure you have a full grasp of how you're going to conquer the essay exam, and just to focus on that you need time. However, at this point I do want to say one thing. There are a lot of comments to say you have to give up on your normal life whilst studying for the CFA program that you pretty much are locked away, or you can't have a social life. That's not true. All my attempts, all my levels, I have tried to live a normal life. In fact, even for the year where I passed for my level 3, I think the last movie that I went out for was just 2 weeks before the exam. So I don't think that you have to completely isolate yourself and be locked up to prepare for the program. You can continue to live your normal life as long as you have a good rhythm, a good plan in place, you're tracking your progress. Then of course you can take the breaks, and of course you can distract yourself. So if you are a shortcut taker or want to pursue that path, yeah, it can work for you. I think in level 1 definitely. Level 2, you are going to be relying on luck as well. And I just want to say, make sure you don't fall into this false trap that you can continue with that approach for level 3, because it'll take a lot more. So just wanted to point that out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.